Oh my God, it's the coolest thing ever. Hey guys, have you heard of Goldbelly? Well, check this out. It's this amazing site where they ship the most iconic, famous foods from restaurants across the country, anywhere nationwide. I've never found a more perfect gift than food. They ship Chicago deep dish pizza, New York bagels, Maine lobster rolls, and even Ina Garten's famous cakes. Seriously. So if you're looking for a gift for the food lover in your life, head to goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code GIFT.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. Thank you for listening. And it's Friday. We made it, TGIF. And TGIF on this day means not only thank God it's Friday, but thank God it's Frank. And we are going to kick things off with a little Ask Frank Anything. If you have questions on any subject, start dialing 646-720-0635. That's 1-646-720-0635. Make them good, make them interesting, make them creative. And if they're just creative enough, you may just win a prize. We'll have your questions in just a moment. Hey, I had a great time at the Tunnel to Towers Foundation dinner last night. Wonderful dinner, and I was honored to be invited as a guest of our owners, John and Margot Katzimatidis. And this is a hot ticket. I think tickets probably go for something like $5,000 for an event like this. And I got to go for free, which was a real treat. And I got to spend a lot of time with my colleagues, Rita Cosby, Dominic Carter, obviously John and Margot Katzimatidis, Curtis Lewa. I think our president, Chad Lopez, our chief legal counsel, Emily Pankow. And I was looking around at the table at one point, and I realized that table represented 10 hours of the broadcast day at WABC. Oh, and Joe Piscopo sat with us for at least a portion of the evening. He also introduced the night's primary honoree, Dennis Quaid. Yes, the actor Dennis Quaid, who's been a guest on this show, who was phenomenal. When he finished speaking, and I don't know that he had prepared notes or anything, he seemed like he was just speaking from the heart. Frank Siller came up to the podium and said, you know, Dennis, I knew you were good. I didn't know you were that good. And I think he spoke for a lot of us, because Dennis Quaid, obviously, we know is a very talented communicator and performer. But he was phenomenal in terms of talking about firefighters, including a firefighter that he knew when he made the movie Frequency, which is a great movie, by the way. If you haven't seen it, it's all about CB radio and time travel and a lot of stuff that I'm interested in. A firefighter he knew that actually died on September 11th, and how he's really all in for everything Tunnel to Towers does. So it's a wonderful organization. Frank Siller gave us a nice shout out from the stage. Joe Piscopo rocked it with two different Sinatra songs, New York, New York, and That's Life. He was phenomenal, as he always is. But a big thank you to John and Margot for inviting me. And if you're not a regular donor to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, I would consider becoming one, because they really do such great work. And Dennis Quaid made the point, I don't know how they're able to get 97% of the donations to go to direct aid to people and only 3% administrative costs, which is extraordinary. He said maybe they need Frank Siller over at Doge, which a lot of people laughed at, but it's very true. So it was a great event. Thank you to John and Margot for inviting me. Let me hear your question, 646-720-0635.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
ChatGPT Plus is free for college students through May. Here's the thing. You've got a lot to do between now and then. Studying for finals, writing papers, trying to keep your life on track. And ChatGPT can help with all of it. It can quiz you for your econ exam, make a study guide from your French notes, plan out your meals and study breaks. It can get really specific on how you like to learn. It can even help you come up with ways to stop procrastinating. So from now until summer break, take advantage of all the ways ChatGPT can make your life easier. Restrictions apply.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. Governor David Paterson is a political giant. Obviously, I'm a little biased because he's a friend of mine and a colleague. His knowledge of New York politics is unparalleled. His wit is sharp, and his contributions to this state are enduring. Yet, somehow, in this race for mayor, both the Adams and Walden campaigns, that's Jim Walden if you're not familiar with him, have managed to treat him with shocking disrespect. Let's start with the Adams camp. An anonymous aide reportedly accused Governor Paterson of betraying his friend, Mayor Eric Adams, for money. This is when it was announced that Governor Paterson was going to be the chief strategist for Jim Walden. That's a cheap shot. Not only is it untrue, but it's also unbecoming of a campaign representing a sitting mayor. David Paterson is a man of integrity, someone who has navigated decades of political turbulence without losing his reputation. A remark like that does more to damage Adams's operation than it does Paterson's legacy. Then there's Jim Walden's campaign, which fired Paterson just weeks after hiring him as their chief campaign. Why? Because Paterson told the truth. He pointed out that Walden is not a factor at this point in the race. Is that controversial? Hardly. It's a reality check. Most New Yorkers don't even know who Jim Walden is, and with ranked choice voting, supporting a long-shot candidate like Walden isn't a lost cause. It's actually an interesting strategy. You can rank him first and still support a front-runner as your second choice. What should have been a moment to spin Paterson's candor into a show of authenticity and resilience turned into a knee-jerk reaction that makes Walden's campaign look thin-skinned and amateurish. The bigger picture here is how both campaigns handled Paterson. Here is a man who brought credibility and gravitas to their operations. The Adams campaign should have celebrated his willingness to work across party lines, not attacking him vigorously. And the Walden campaign, especially anonymously in the case of the Adams campaign, the Walden campaign should have embraced his honesty, not punished him for it. Governor Paterson deserved better. He's a national treasure and a true New York institution. This episode reflects poorly on both campaigns, but more than that, it's a missed opportunity to showcase the kind of leadership and respect we need more of in politics. Shame on both camps. Let's hope they learn something from this, though knowing how campaigns often work, I won't be holding my breath. Governor Paterson's going to be just fine, and whatever mayoral candidate he ends up supporting and working on behalf of, that's a lucky candidate.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
Subtle results, still you, but with fewer lines. Botox Cosmetic, out of botulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WNBC.
Local Spotlight.
New York City is the largest city in the country, but when it comes to voter turnout, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel. In the 2024 presidential election, just 54% of eligible New Yorkers showed up to vote, second to last among major U.S. cities. And in the last mayoral election, a dismal 23%. Now, we can talk all day long about how to fix this, and I think we should. 9 days of early voting? Already in place. No excuse absentee ballots? Check. 3 hours off from work to vote on Election Day? Yep. But none of this is moving the needle. Why? Because the real problem isn't convenience, it's competition. Let's face it, New York City's elections are boring. For the most part, the outcomes are predictable. The Democrats dominate, the Republicans barely compete. And thanks to a shameful state law, thank you, Andrew Cuomo, third parties are increasingly kicked off the ballot altogether. When voters feel like their choices don't matter, they don't bother to show up. Compare this to cities with competitive elections. San Francisco aligned its mayoral elections with presidential years, and turnout nearly doubled, jumping from 42% to 79%. Phoenix saw a similar leap from an average of 23% in off-cycle elections to 73% when they timed their mayoral contests with presidential ones. Competition and timing matter far more than the number of days you can vote. Now, some policymakers are pushing to align New York City's local elections with higher turnout federal elections. That could help. But here's another idea. Bring back real political competition. Let third parties thrive. Consider nonpartisan elections or proportional representations. Stop locking alternative parties out of the process. The Working Families Party, the Conservative Party, even the Libertarians, they offer voters more options and force candidates to broaden their appeal. And while we're at it, let's talk about making the general elections more competitive. In a city as diverse as New York, why is one party so dominant? The absence of real competition breeds complacency, both among voters and politicians. And I know it's tough, because I've been a party leader, to recruit candidates that have no chance of winning. But the Republicans really need to field a candidate for every single seat in New York City, every single assembly seat, every single Senate seat, every single congressional seat. And I don't know what they'll have to promise someone in order to get them to give it the old college try and run, but they have to do it, because this lack of any competition, it's for the birds. It's clear that piling on more early voting days isn't the solution. It's like throwing open a door to an empty room. What's the point if no one's excited to go in? Instead, let's focus on making elections competitive, giving voters real choices, and ensuring that everyone feels their vote truly matters. Until we do, expect more of the same. Long lines of excuses and short lines at the polls.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
This episode is brought to you by Factor. Optimize your nutrition this year with Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal service. Factor's fresh, never-frozen meals are dietitian-approved, ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Choose from 40 weekly options across 8 dietary preferences, like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Eat smarter at factormeals.com/listen50 and use code LISTEN50 for 50% off, plus free shipping on your first box. Factormeals.com/listen50. Code LISTEN50. Terms and conditions apply.
The Other Side at Midnight.
77 WNBC.
Local Spotlight.
Today, we are diving into the New York City Council's approval yesterday of Mayor Eric Adams' City of Yes housing plan, a sweeping initiative aimed at tackling the city's housing affordability crisis with a relatively razor-thin vote. This is razor-thin, at least by New York City Council standards, where there's usually 6 or 7 votes opposed and everything else in favor. The vote passed 31-20. This plan paves the way for 80,000 new homes over the next 15 years. While this may sound like a step forward, for many neighborhoods, including mine, especially in the outer boroughs, it feels more like a step into chaos. Let me be clear. New York City has a housing problem. Skyrocketing rents, record low vacancy rates, and an ever-growing homeless population are undeniable challenges. The proponents of this plan, including the mayor, argue that building more housing in every neighborhood is the answer. They've even committed $5 billion for affordable housing and infrastructure upgrades to sweeten the deal. But here's the issue. One-size-fits-all solutions don't work, and for neighborhoods with 1- and 2-family homes, this plan is a disaster waiting to happen. Take Staten Island, for instance, or parts of Queens. There are areas characterized by quiet, close-knit communities of single-family homes. The City of Yes plan threatens to disrupt that by allowing larger buildings in these neighborhoods, removing parking mandates, and even encouraging basement apartments. Imagine living on a block of tidy houses and waking up to find a multi-story development towering next door. Increased density in areas ill-equipped for it means more cars on the road, more strain on sewer systems, and less green space for everyone. Advocates claim this will reduce rents and help New Yorkers struggling to stay in the city. But is there any guarantee it won't just incentivize developers to cash in with luxury apartments? Affordable housing remains an elusive promise, and history shows us that it often takes a backseat to profit. Neighborhoods like these are the backbone of New York City, offering families a slice of stability in an otherwise chaotic urban environment. Bulldozing over community concerns in favor of density for density's sake erodes trust and the very fabric that makes these these areas special. Supporters argue that building near transit hubs and loosening zoning restrictions is overdue progress. But if this is the cost, overcrowding, environmental strain, and changing the character of neighborhoods, then maybe we're paying too high a price. I wish this plan hadn't passed. Yes, we need to address housing affordability, but not at the expense of our neighborhoods. Instead, let's focus on smarter, more tailored solutions like building in underutilized areas, improving public housing, and incentivizing genuinely affordable developments without threatening the integrity of one- and two-family home communities.
Beam me up!
To be continued.